Almost every treatment has it. But here's the real question. Are we actually using it properly, or have we just turned it into a default step in our facials? Hi, welcome back to Beauty Babble. I'm Suzanne, Sodexo certified esthetician, former spa owner, and educator mentor to beauty professionals across Canada. I've spent over 30 years in the treatment room, and high frequency is one of those modalities I've seen evolve to some degree, but it's also kind of been part of the routine in a facial without really thinking about what and why and when we should be using it. So, this isn't about a theory or textbook definitions. It's about real treatment thinking and when do we actually use it? When should we not use it? And why has it become an automatic in the first place? So, in this episode, I want to talk a little bit more about how it began. So, a lot of it started off with our training environments. Where did we first learn this? And it was just systematic, it was step by step what we had to do in our standard facial flow. So, we cleanse, we exfoliate, extractions, high frequency, massage potentially, mask, etc. So over time, it just became a routine and not really thought about anymore. It wasn't anything intentional when we were doing this. And I remember way back when I was doing it as well, it was just the steps you were taught, and this is how you did it. But there's a lot more involved in that. And what I see now with professionals is that that structure hasn't changed. It's how it was taught, but we still need to think about changing it. And does the skin actually need it? And which type do we need? So there's two ways of using for high frequency. It's indirect and direct. So sometimes this is where the misunderstanding happens, or life just got busy and we fall into that routine. But there's definitely something different about them for sure. So hopefully this will give you a little bit of a reminder, bring you back to the days, or even just kind of adapt to what you're doing. Or maybe you're going to bring it into your treatments. So direct high frequency, think of it as more targeted. You're working on a specific area, congestion, or maybe a breakout activity. We typically use this one when we're in routine all the time, post extractions. So we're localizing the area for support. So, for example, a client is congested, oily skins, active breakouts, or comedones. And this is where direct high frequency makes sense. You've completed extractions. Yes, this is when you want to use direct on those areas to help support that surface environment for that cleansingness, right? So, because you're bringing precise to it, I want you to think about what that means. Direct is precise. You're treating the whole face. You're not treating the whole face. You're being addressing the specific areas that need the support. So be very clear on how you're using direct. But what you don't want is to use direct frequency across the entire face by default. You want to be cautious of not overworking the area, or working over inflamed or sensitized skins. You don't think more is better. So the key thing is direct should never become aggressive or routine. It should be in that targeted, intentional atmosphere. Indirect high frequency, this is more general. So in this aspect, you can do the whole face. Think of it for circulation, oxygenation of the skin, that support to the skin, and overall stimulation to the skin. So it's less about correction and more about skin environment. So I want you to think normal to dry skin, or clients that you have, even mature skins that need that circulation. They have low circulation, so you want to build it up, or maybe a dullness to the skin. And this is where indirect high frequency can be very beneficial. You're not targeting nor correcting or corrective treatments in this aspect. You're supporting the skin as a whole. So you're encouraging that circulation, that vitality overall to the skin, and giving a general stimulation effect after treatment. And if you think about it, the problem is that many professionals are using this method over everything. And regardless of the skin condition, you just do it everywhere. So you think this is good for everything, but it's not. So indirect is not something just by default. I want you to think it's not part of every facial, and it shouldn't be used definitely on reactive or compromised skins. Of course, there's contraindications for all of this, so just go through that, revisit that for yourself. But just because it's gentle doesn't mean it's the right choice. So indirect still requires a decision. It's not automatically safe or always appropriate. There's also a little bit of confusion about the electrodes and their gases. So you'll often hear argon and neon in that conversation, but with no context behind it. So what does it all mean? Argon's typically used for more acne-prone or congested skins due to that antibacterial support to help the congestion. You want to break down that bacteria that's happening in the skin. This is that violet kind of color through the probes. You'll see through the glass probe. And neon, this is more for that supporting circulation and glow and general skin vitality. That's going to look orangey red in color. But again, this only matters if you are understanding the why you choose to do this modality in the service. So when we think about the glass tubes, I want you to think of how to use it, when to use it. So understanding the glass electrode shapes is another thing that sometimes we forget how to use it. I remember in school clearly, and I still see it being taught, the mushroom. That's the one that everyone goes to mostly. Not everyone's teaching it like that. And I clearly understand there's different teachings. But this is the most commonly used one. And it's for large surface areas. And it's typically indirect high frequency. I know I said that, indirect. But we are using it in direct high frequency as well over those areas commonly after extractions. But typically, this is actually used in indirect high frequency because it's for the full face. Think of the wideness of that mushroom, the general stimulation again, post-treatment circulation support, that tired looking skin or dull, you want to brighten it. But there's another electrode to choose from. The pointed or the pencil looking electrode, that's your direct high frequency. That's going to target those little spots that you are looking for, the smaller areas, more precise. You want to think about the localized breakouts, individual blemishes, congested spots post extraction. Now, you could do the mushroom if you were in a larger area, yes, but typically we're using the whole mushroom to do that zapping of it. And I just want you to think about why there's different electrodes. If you only have the one, then just be very precise on the one pimple by angling your mushroom so that you're not putting it on a large area. So again, the pointed is best for those breakouts in individual locations or very specific post-extraction areas, which is great after for sure. There's also the curved or spoon-looking electrode, and this is for indirect high frequency. It's often used in areas that have the contouring to the face because you have better angles. It's a broader surface contact as well, and it occurs great around the cheek, the jawline. Generally, for the face, it's nice for a softer glide if needed because you can also flip it and use the other side of it if you want. Again, you think this one is overall glow, skin vitality, and can be a good finishing support after your mask as well. And beyond direct and indirect, there's other decisions. Sometimes high frequency just doesn't belong in the treatment at all. If you're working with a compromised barrier, high reactivity to skin, lots of cuprose, redness, rosacea, inflammation, in that congested area as well. So you're not forcing a modality into the treatment just because it's available. That decision is not to not use it. It's just clinical thinking. So, each time can be a little different, and just explain to your client why you're choosing to do it or why you're choosing not to do it. What I see most often is two things. Either high frequency is being used every single client all the time, it's just a routine step. But I want you to think about, or actually, some are even skipping it entirely because you're not confident in it. You haven't used it in a while, you've forgotten about it. So I'm hoping this brings that back to you of how you can bring it back in instead of it sitting in it, getting dust all over it. You can pull it out and start again with it and make those really good decisions. So they both have a great place in a treatment for sure in your services. But the lack of clarity in your decision making, that is the holdup with it. So the shift happens when we stop thinking of high frequency as just part of the sequence of a facial and start thinking of a decision based on skin behavior that you see. So direct or indirect or both or none, that's the real framework, right? You want to think when you start working this way, your treatments become way more responsive. Your confidence is going to increase as well. And you're no longer just guessing or just following a routine. You're being intentional. So the goal isn't to stop using the high frequency, it's start using it with your intention. So think about how and when and why you're going to do it or not. Because when you understand what it actually does, it's really does add value to your treatments. It stops just being another step in a facial. And that outcome is a tool you can actually control during your services. And that's the difference between overused or truly understood. Thanks for being here today and listening. If you found value in this conversation, a like really does go a long way. It tells me that you're actually looking for this type of information, education like this. It helps to schedule different kind of conversations, and it also reaches other professionals who might need it. If it sparks you, and you want to reach out, drop a comment below. I would love to hear from you. And if you think of someone in your circle that could benefit this perspective, then please share it. Feel free to do so. Again, thanks for being here today. And I will see you at the next episode on Beauty Babble.